Secondly, I am blessed and I'm fortunate to have my wife who stands in full support of me. Honey, would you stand wherever you are? Amen. Amen. Then when you got God on your side and you got a great wife on your side, you need a great church on your side. And Mount Zion First Baptist, all of you, would you please stand? Amen. Give God a hand for the greatest church this side of glory. Thank you so much. Ushers, thank you so much. Amen. I could not do this without their support. They prayed for me as we fasted and talked to God about this endeavor. Now, I'm as nervous as a cat on a hot tin roof. I am not a politician by any stretch of the imagination. I'm very uncomfortable when it comes to politics. So I'm going to stay in the realm by which I am most comfortable. I am a preacher. That's what he called me to do. You have a flyer in your hand. I will not go through all of the points in the flyer. If you don't have one, you raise your hand. The ushers will be more than happy to assist you to have one. But I'm here because Luke says something in chapter 24. At the end of his time, post-resurrection, he comes to the disciples and he's troubled because the disciples didn't know something that they should have known. I've come to this association with all of its history, pastoring a church that has a tremendous history. And one of the things God helped me to see was when there is great history, there are also some challenges. Because on one hand, you're trying to hold on to the history. But on the other hand, he's saying, but I'm continuously rewriting history. And so we find ourselves at a crossroad. And instead of sharing with you from prepared notes, I want to share from my heart. Because I'm not that gifted. I'm not that eloquent. And I'd like to say everything that Pastor Wesley said, we need to do all of that. So I say ditto to all of that. But I am smart enough to know that I'm young enough that people want to see what you know. And I've figured out, according to 1 Corinthians chapter 2, that I know nothing but Christ and him crucified. And so what I would like to do as the president is to follow Christ and to use the Word of God as our anchor to guide us into the way of God, that we can learn how to do the will of God. And so if the association is more caught up in its history and fails to recognize its misery, then there's no need to talk about ministry, because the purpose of the ministry is to minister to the masses. And if we're not ministering to the masses, then all we have is an organization. And organizations die. And the church is an organism. And organisms live. And so if we've lived this long, then evidently God must be pleased. And so all we need to do is continue to do what God would have us to do. Amen. And so, what can you bring, Pastor Brown? Well, I'm not from Baton Rouge. I'm from the Delta, raised on a plantation. Don't know a whole lot about church, but I've been in church all my life. But I do know God. And I have figured it out. If God is for you, who can be against you? If God is leading you, it doesn't matter what your platform is. If God is leading you, he's the platform. If you just stand on the faith of those who've already labored before you. So if I just do what I saw great leaders like Dr. Jemison do, and Dr. Bilberry do, then I cannot go wrong. I just need some people who will go along with me. And if we go together as the 4th District Missionary Baptist Association, not only will it continue to be a great association, but it will be a greater association. And so our motto is real simple. It's not mine. I'm not smart enough to come up with it. The president did. And I'm smart enough to follow the predecessor. And the predecessor said, whenever you think of the 4th District, you have to think big. And so I would like to say big will stand for building intergenerations. We need to pull every generation together so that all of us can go where our ancestors saw we should have gone, and they paved the way. And if we just simply do what the old folk did, we'll get what the old folk got, and the young folk will get what we need, and all of us will be in the same place at the same time, ready to do what God has called us to do. So I come, as Paul says in 1 Corinthians 2, I'm just a weak, foolish preacher that believes in doing the work of the ministry. And I'm weak enough to believe that God is strong enough to do big things through a weak preacher who's availing himself to a powerful Holy Spirit and a God that has continued to be with the association, that when it's all said and done, we'll do big things and no one will be left out. The one caveat that I do want to share from the flyer: we have a wealth of resources in this association. All we need to do is pull all of our resources together, stop fighting each other, and make our resources speak for us. Because after all, if you got a big God and you got a big faith, there is no obstacle that you cannot take out. So whatever issues we are facing, we have a Bible that has already given us the answer. I shared this in the class earlier today, and I'll share it with you today. The answers are in the back of the book. If you take a look at the back of the book is the Bible. The back of the book is book number 66. It is entitled Revelation. The answer to all of our problems that start from Genesis and go all the way through to Revelation. The first 65 books, brothers and sisters, the answer to those 65 books and the problems of those 65 books are in the last book, Revelation. And if we just do what he says to the churches and apply it to our association, we'll do big things for God. God bless you tonight. Read the information and you'll know what Pastor Brown would like for us to do. But it is all up to the chief servant. I'm just the vessel that he's chosen to use for this season. If you pray for me, I'll pray for you. And God will determine who his president will be. Is that all right? Give the Lord a hand for his goodness and for his